What's up, everyone? Welcome to Yo That's Weird, episode 7. I think we're on, no, are we on 8? I got to start over. I don't know. We'll fix it in post, but we're here with the wonderful, hilarious Pat George. Give it up, everybody.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for
Hi.
having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Um, I'm happy to have you here. We're gonna give a nice go birds
Hell
before we
yeah.
start.
Go birds.
Go
We
birds.
have to do it. It's impossible to do it at the same time on Zoom, so I'll just do it. Just get that in post too. Also, I'll just go birds. And then you go birds.
Your cat just jumped in to help.
Oh yeah. That's Chloe. I'm in the cattic right now. So this is
Okay.
officially we're gonna get probably a couple run-ins.
I used to have a cattic. Uh,
That sounded really very ominous how that sentence ended. I used to have a cattic
it
once.
had wood paneling.
Oh really? Where was
Yes.
this one? Was it in Harrisburg?
No, it's just in the other part of this house that I'm in.
Oh. You just moved.
I just moved. It's not, there's no temperature control in there.
Mm.
It's like the old vet.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. It's fitting. Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though these are 49ers colors, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah. That's no go birds.
Go
Not.
birds.
Yeah. Exactly.
Go birds repeatedly.
Hell yeah.
We were talking because the game is on in about 13 minutes here, and number one NFC East Eagles about to play
Hmm.
the 49ers. We were talking about football and sports superstitions and things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any of those?
Yeah. I was kind of. I always respect because actually one of my favorite questions to ask somebody is what superstitions do you have, especially performers, any performer, because that's really what like athletes are performers as well. Like when you're at that tier, you have to do it you already have to be better, but you also have to look kind of cool too. So like so like I think a lot of times I think like any kind of superstition. So I love a secret handshake thing. I like
Okay.
a not cleaning a thing or anything like that. But I for sure with fans, like for me, my personal I'm more of a hockey guy. I like the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't know if you
Yeah,
could tell.
I can
Um
see that.
I drop subtle hints every once in a while. But I realized recently during the playoffs, if the Tampa Bay Lightning are playing and I'm not there with them,
Okay.
yes, that's true. When I'm not there to be with them, like in person, I can't
Physically.
wear anything. Yeah, physically, I can't wear anything Tampa Bay Lightning. If
Okay.
I wear
Or
anything game day during the playoffs, they will lose.
okay.
It's
That I
guaranteed.
I believe it. That happens to me with the Phillies. If I wear the shirt and I'm not watching or there,
Yeah.
lose every time.
Yeah, I noticed. I listened to the one with the episode with Andy, and you were talking about if you're not watching at the beginning of the game, like that's a for sure bet. So like when you said you were going to have it on in the background, I was like, okay, it
Mhm.
makes me feel a little bit better
Yeah.
that we're going to be starting a little bit later, just because I like that kind of stuff is I knock wood. You know what I mean? Like I usually kind of jokingly do my head, but like when I say stuff like knock wood or something like that, it's I don't know if I really believe them, but like it definitely started. I remember when I used to pray because I was like scared. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I would do it like almost superstitiously. Like if I don't like if I made a joke earlier in that day that I thought was like, oh yeah, there's no God or whatever,
You're
something
like,
blasphemous or something, I would be like, I was just joking, right? Like at the end of the day, like
me and God kid around all the time. It's cool.
yeah,
He
we
gets
joke.
it.
Yeah.
That's actually really funny because I was just reading this book about I only just started it recently, the psychology of Kundalini yoga.
Oh wow.
And it's all about these speeches and seminars that Jung did, uh, and Carl Jung.
Uh
And he
oh, that young. Okay,
that
got
Jung, the philosopher.
it. I,
um
I have a love hate relationship with philosophy, but I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay. Well, that's actually really, really funny and synchronistic. You said that. I love synchronicity. I like metaphysics and the philosophies there because you can't. I like the idea because you can't dispute anyone's metaphysical theories because they don't really exist.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
just made up.
There's no
But
right or wrong.
but This philosophy was that The one sentence was like, all right, so they say how many incarnations, some Buddhist was being quoted, and like, ancient monk or whatever, and he said, how many incarnations would a man who loves God need? And it was seven. So that's how
Oh,
many incarnations you would come here on earth if you love God, because you're just
okay.
happy and you just love God and you're just thankful. But if you, because the other principle is obviously hate and fear, the opposite of love is hate and fear. So
Right.
they said, but a man who fears God only needs three incarnations here,
Oh, really?
because you actually then cling to God so hard because you're afraid and because you fear his wrath or
Mhm.
whatever. It was kind of like you said, you're like, oh, please, God, no, I was just kidding.
JK, JK. Ha 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 ha.
But if you truly believe everything's always divinely guided and you love God and you love the
Mhm.
idea of whatever your God is, and then you
Damn,
takes
you got to
longer
work
here.
harder.
Yeah, it takes more times here because you realize that's I guess I don't know, I'm only 7 pages into this part of the chapter. So
Nice. Hell
I
yeah.
but that's very funny because we have our I'm sure everybody has every sports fan that's really a fan probably has something that they do.
Well, it got to a point where I love I like so this is the weirdest thing. I love reading philosophy,
Mm.
but I can't read. Like I don't think so so like I feel like that's kind of me in a nutshell in a little way. I started reading this book called Free Will Explained, and I fucking love it. Like I
Okay.
loved it, but then I got to this chapter where I'm like, it kind of turned words into math. And I
Mm.
was just like, I don't know what the fuck this means, and I got like kind of frustrated. And then the only other thing was like, I usually would say book on tape or something like that, but
Audiobook, yeah.
then I'm like, but I like reading. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like to like, it's like I want to do it, but I'm just like, "Ugh," and I get mad because every emotion kind of filters through anger. So, but I love the fact of like that like everything except for Schrodinger's cat. I think in philosophy is something that I can be like I love talking and debating about, but like I've never heard of what was it again? I'm sorry, the seven reincarnations.
Well, yeah, it was just a theory that some Buddhist monk had spoke of in relation to this paragraph or this chapter in the book, because it started with the idea of love and hate in people, and we're like, you
Yeah,
can't exist and only have love. You have to at some point have this fear or hatred aspect of your personality as
yeah,
an individual. That's what this part of the beginning of the lectures are getting into. And yeah, so it was, someone asked, like, if it's supposed to be yoga and it's supposed to be all love and God is all love, why would there be this principle of hate or
right.
whatever? And it was because and the guy said a man who loves God needs seven incarnations to come here on earth
Mm-hmm.
to like figure out their shit, I
I got
guess,
it.
basically. And then the one who hates God, who's clings to him much more fiercely because it's almost like a love hate relationship at that point,
Mm-hmm.
and that you need three incarnations.
And what was did it? What was the hate again? Did they? Was it like zero? You don't
No,
even need to be
no,
here.
that's three. That's three. Love
Oh,
was
that was three
seven,
also.
and
Okay.
hate was three.
So wait, okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was love, hate, and then fear.
Well, hate and fear in the book is kind of like some people call it hate, but some people don't like that word,
Oh,
especially
okay.
when they're
Yeah.
talking about these. It's like these are like lectures from the 1940s or something.
Mm-hmm.
So when people hear hate, they immediately assume the idea of where you hate someone. But
To me,
hate is such a
oh,
strong word. So
yeah,
so
no, yeah, fear is really what it is. It's like
it's
you fear the unknown. Yeah.
exactly. So they had these two principles they were trying to explain, and they had these words for them like the klesa and the devesa or whatever. And it's like one is the love, and that needs no explanation. We all know that. But hate and fear, because like the idea was, it got to a point where it went like you can only love
Mm-hmm.
if you then are willing to accept the idea that you may come to a point in love where you hate or fear that person or that situation or that thing. And like, I guess that would be like you love your team so much. Okay. You love your team, you really love your team, but then you fear they might lose.
Yeah.
So that's something you have to face to like then have that balance in the
Oh,
kundalini
so if you
energy.
really love your team, see, that's the thing is like I think that's actually, that does line up with my fandom with like the lightning and stuff like that because I feel like I'm kind of first generation fan of theirs. Like they only started in like 92.
Okay.
So like I on my own found hockey and on my own just was like, all right, well, I'll root for the home team. I'm here. So like that was kind of a thing. So and we definitely had a lot of a lot of deaths, a lot of like the seven is seven. Why can't I fucking remember seven incarnation?
Seven incarnations here on
Okay,
earth
I'm
if you
right.
love God.
Yeah. So I think there was definitely when we first moved here, like there was the first time we made it to the finals, and that's when I discovered that wearing the game day stuff, like that was like because I was like, oh, my powers are different here. You know what I mean? It's so weird how I feel like I
I'm
it
closer
gives
to
me
the
power.
equator.
Yeah, like it's weird that I felt like I had more of a more of a pull when I was there. You know what I mean? Like
Sure. No,
I love I love practical discussions of philosophy, like bringing it into like sports fandom or fandom of any kind or performances or anything, because it's like it becomes I can't remember. I always get the two mixed up: Sisyphus and Theseus. Shippus Theseus, is that right?
I don't even know if I don't know enough about that to really state an opinion
Oh
there.
well, there was I think it was so one of them. The Rock of Sisyphus is like work related. It's basically pushing the rock uphill kind of thing. It's a thing that I started talking about that I can't remember very well. Like I said, I couldn't even remember the name, and I don't know why I brought it up in the first place. And I'm still on my second cup of coffee, so I apologize.
Wait,
But
is that good
I
or
was
bad?
I was gonna try to relate it to what we were talking about with the sports, like practical relations to it. But that was one of the books that I started to try to. I was like, I'll buy that one next, but I still haven't gotten through this one. So I'll I'll let you know on the next episode. Sorry,
I'm glad we're doing hooked on phonics for you here.
I'm telling you.
I really like that idea that you're like into such heady material, but yet you're just like, I'm illiterate though, so I'm like
Sucks. It's
hyper
like,
literate and
but it's like I have the drive. Like I have
you
the
want to.
yeah. I really don't love like a lot of TV. I only really watch like old like combat sports or like it's like of or like clips and stuff like that or facts about things I'm really interested in cats, like genuinely like caring for and actually coexisting with cats, not
Okay.
like not just owning them, like but actually figuring out what like their body language means, what how they sleep, what it means and stuff like that. Genuine interest. MMA, cats, and fucking and like real like heady philosophy. All of which, if it's not in YouTube form, I'm fucked.
I like the idea that you've read more about breed like raising a cat than most men do when they actually have a child.
Yeah. That's really like that's it's funny because it's the exact same thing of like, oh, why exactly does that happen? I want to figure it out. I want to understand. Like, I want to like actually have a good relationship. Like they're your buddy, they're your roommate. You know what I mean? Like so, same idea of that of like what to expect when you're expecting a cat, except for the fact that most of the cats have been just found
Oh
outside.
yeah. No cat, very few cats have ever been purchased from a
Yeah.
store.
Zero. I think zero so far for me. I haven't
Uh,
purchased one.
never in my like family house growing up ever would we have ever purchased a cat. Didn't
Yeah.
have to. They just show up.
Yeah. No matter
Uh,
here or Florida, like Florida or here in Pennsylvania, either way, I just kind of I've kind of have a cat whisperer tendency about me.
we have a pet cemetery in our backyard, an illegal one. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, hell yeah.
my grandma used to always bury pets, so there's
So
so many dead dogs in our backyard.
so weird story. I work part-time for a pet crematory, and
Okay.
that's actually that's the leading story I hear a lot of times is people, because that's what we did. But the funniest thing was when the house that we grew up in Florida was same thing of like we had a pet, you know, oh no, Figaro died. Oh, you know, put him out back, you know, avoid the roots, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And then but Florida you can't dig too deep because there's just water after a
Yeah.
while. So
True.
so you gotta time it right. And so we did that and we owned the house at the time, you know, until we didn't. And then we had to leave the house. So now there's just a house that somebody owns now that has a bunch of our dead pets in the back. And that's why I'm like, that's why I suggest pet cremation. Take your family with you.
We'll bring up a little graphic on the top
Yeah.
above you.
I wish I had
We
it on my cup right here. I told them you got to get logos or something.
get your branding before you log on next time. Yeah, so we've always had random people's live pets appear here on like holidays or
Mm-hmm.
something. Like people's lost pets will just show up. Um, our current cat, one of our cats that we have here, our black cat, it just appeared on like Christmas Eve. One time we came home, me and my sister came home from my mom's house. This cat
Mm.
was just sitting on the front doorstep, like checking its watch. Like, when were you guys gonna fucking
Yeah.
come home? I'm like, what?
Anyway, yeah. Can
Okay,
you open the
scraggly,
door?
mean black cat. Like,
Was this is this of the era, like when, how, I don't know how long ago was this?
uh,
Would it have a chip or something?
she didn't. She did
Oh wow.
not. She had a collar on, which we were like, well, this is someone's cat, but she was so skinny and like just scraggly and mean and like basically feral. We have like a really shitty couple of apartment complexes right around our neighborhood.
Hmm.
One like backs right up to where my house is. But
Yeah.
that's funny because she's about 10 almost now. That she was like a year and a half when she came here.
Holy shit. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And all the time I go in and I'm like, Queen, where the fuck did you come from? We'll
Yeah.
never know, will
Who
we?
are you?
Like, where did you have someone like die in their apartment and you just wandered out?
The most recent cat that we got, we have right now, we had Lord Stanley and Chloe,
Okay.
and then there is Carmela, right? So doing the pet cremation, there's a couple of vets offices that we work with, and I one of the ones that I work with, I also follow. They're like they're really active on social media and stuff like that. So like I follow them and stuff, and they posted a picture of this cat just sitting there that said, they said, just one of the patients that was walking in, they said, oh, oh, your cat got out of the carrier, and they said, that's not my cat, and I just walked in with them from the parking lot. It was just hanging out in the parking lot.
Just knew.
And it was just, yeah, and they're in kind of BFE area, like right next to the road, but like also next to cornfields. There's really not a lot around there, and it's just little kitten. And they're like, hey, if any, no chip, it's not spayed. Looks like it might be about 7 months, maybe. We don't know,
Yeah.
or 7 weeks or whatever. And I was like, or I don't know, however old, but and and so when I walked in there, that was like a Monday. When I went in there on a Thursday, they were like, "Are you here to adopt the kitten?" And I was like, "No." And I held her, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah." That was the one. That's like, but there's nobody, like nobody ever claimed, like in those 4 days, nobody claimed her. Nobody called and said, "Hey, my cat got out when I was leaving." Like, it's not a patient. It wasn't chipped
Yeah.
or anything. Just kind of showed up next to the Burger King.
That
And
that's so funny because our vet that's local near my house used to be a Wendy's building and they
oh,
turned it into a vet's office.
maybe it's just a fast food thing. Maybe there's like a
They
connection
just
there.
they were all fast food workers. That's what you reincarnate as a cat when you're a
Yeah,
fast food
this is
worker
like the
and then you
fifth
die.
carnation. That's what happens when you love God. You turn into a cat. But honestly, this cat is living good. Let me, like, these
I
cats are fucking spoiled.
I'm sure you read those books, and I did it say in those books that the I always bring this up to people that cats actually bond to humans the way infants do.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah,
Yeah, no, they do. It's like proven, and I get it. I can, like, my grandmom has a little cat. She just like holds it, and it just like lets her.
yeah.
And
I had a cat where I got it probably way too young. Like, it was too, like, his name was Zeke, and he was like really tiny, but I think he was probably, the people were trash that had him. Like, actually, I felt like I was like, I'm taking this cat. I'm
yeah,
gonna take care of it. But I had to like bottle feed him at first and kind of like do all that stuff. Like, so that was like, that was when I started to like go like, oh, I should actually give a shit. Like, before that, it was like, put out a fucking Miracle Whip, container with dry food, and just let whatever
just let it
neighborhood
go.
cats eat
Yeah,
it.
it'll figure it out.
Yeah, we got it. But then we're like having to take care of this cat. So, but he ended up being like, where he would ride around in the car with me. I would put him in my hoodie, and he would just go into the pocket. I actually got kicked out of a Taco Bell with him. He was I
Like,
was feeding him tortilla. He was just my little
sir,
ride or
no
die dude.
gatos.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like the girl at the counter, she thought it was like, she's like, "Oh, that's cute." Like, but she didn't react to me having a cat in a Taco Bell. So I was like, I guess it's cool. So we'll eat here. And then by the end of the meal, the guy was like, hey, he's like, do you have anything? He's like, sir, what do you have in your hoodie? And I was like, nothing. And I was just kind of like walking around. But I was like, I it was more of a like, you can't fire me, I quit, because we were done with our meal. So I was just like, all right, yeah, you kicked us out. All right. See
Yeah.
you later, dude.
That's funny. My friend has little like Pomeranians that she carries around in her purse sometimes. And we went to like a vegan ice cream store in Brooklyn and she did the same thing. She had it like on the counter in her bag. And the little girl who's like looked 15 or something was like, oh my God, that's so cute. And then a second later, the same girl turned around. I don't know why, because I think my friend started being like other people were paying attention, like, oh, you want to pet her or whatever. And then, like the girl was just suddenly like, ma'am, you can't have a dog in here.
Yeah, come on, man. Like, yeah, like at that point, if they can not, if their feet never touch the floor
If
and
it's
they're
in
not
its
in a
little
cart,
case.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, get over it.
Actually, I think this is a really good time to bring up your news story I found for you. I had no idea what to bring up because you just said something about your story that we're going to talk about in a little bit after the break is something happening in a room,
Mm,
whatever, twice, two different things. I don't
yeah.
know much, and I sometimes I try to relate the story that I find to people's stories, but this topic that we're actually on is hilarious, and we're going to do a little share screen action here of you may have heard this story. It was around, it's not new. Woman reportedly breastfed cat on Delta Airlines flight.
I actually have heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So for the viewers, the flight attendant reported that a hairless cat was screaming for its life. I watched this video earlier. It's actually just a brawl. That's not the video of a cat breastfeeding. I was
Mm,
hoping that there would be footage of this lady with her titty out
yeah.
breastfeeding the cat.
Syracuse to Atlanta. That makes sense.
Syracuse to Atlanta, right? You like, you're like as soon as you heard it, you're like, I get it. As soon as I read that, a flight attendant sent a message through the aircraft communications addressing system on the jet to alert the crew on the ground that a person sitting in seat 13A is breastfeeding a cat and will not put the cat back in its carrier. This red coat team, a special group of customer service experts. It's like
Man,
crazy that they have to have like
how do you handle this situation? Like, really, like, a breastfeeding is a hot topic, like
in
freezing in the
general.
bowl. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
sure.
that's in general, yeah, that's a big deal. But then also, like, animals, you know what I mean? You can't say that there's anybody's allergic. Is this the cat here?
This is just a hairless
Oh,
cat.
okay.
It's
We
one of
got no
those.
comment from the cat.
It's yeah, it's one of the skin cats. She was like, "Look, it's a skin cat. I can have it."
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Eat
Uh,
my baby.
yeah, the flight attendant on social media said she had one of those hairless cats swaddled up in a blanket so it looked like a baby. Her shirt was up, and she was trying to get the cat to latch,
Oh,
and she would. You
man.
just imagine, just like, "Come
This
on."
had
It's
okay.
oh.
There even a like there is no age a cat's teeth feel okay on a nipple. I would assume. I
No,
would assume, and I know this because that little one that I was just explaining that we found in the middle of nowhere and saved its life and gave it so many wonderful things and opportunities here. Anytime I'm sleeping with my shirt off, or anytime I have my shirt off, she'll crawl on my chest and almost like almost a purple nurple style move, like just kind of flick my nipple with her claw and just kind of like not try to, you know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing where like she's bullies me. So I guarantee that there's no cat in the world that you want to latch onto your nipple. This lady's crazy.
she's
All due
obviously
respect.
all no, that's an emotional support cat. I get it.
Yeah. But like,
But that's taken and then like the fact like can you imagine like your Delta and you have to have like a special customer service team to then not have some lady, especially if she was like in first class or something. I don't know what this red coat service is.
yeah, I don't know what red coat means. Is that like their nerd squad or something, or geek squad or something?
I mean, that's what we isn't that the British? I don't know.
Oh, red coats. They send in the red coats.
It's like, but like the world is so weird now because somebody was talking about it last night. I think it was the headliner at Punchline, and my friend has a story about this too about kids that are like trans cat. I don't want to say the wrong term. Did you have you
Yeah,
heard?
I gotcha.
Okay,
Uh,
they like, and my friend at his
Kind
school,
of like the movie version of the first draft of the movie version of Cats. Is that what you mean?
like yeah, like they dress up with the ears and the
Yeah. Yeah, they
while
do
they're
all
in
this stuff.
school. And
And
then my friend at his school in Brooklyn, or no, Harlem, they have a special litter box room.
no fucking way.
Yeah.
With all due respect, no fucking way.
No, no,
I
with
have to
no
do.
due
I would. You got to give
respect.
those qualifiers. You know what I mean? Like, hey, with all due respect, I respect your decision. As a person, but what the fuck?
With no due respect. No, I don't. That's where we're that's so like some of the teachers at his school always complain about it now, and he's like just laughs because he's like, who cares, let them go in there. But it's they had to have this special arrangements made for these children who believe they are feline.
So, uh, like, what else? What other quality do they get to lay in the sun?
I
Like
I
during
mean,
class, do they
I'll
get to
have to.
sleep on the books?
I'm gonna have him on here someday. He's not a comedian, he's just an old friend, very funny. And I'm sure that they do probably get like
That's
nap time or get to
cool.
sit wherever they want up on stuff if they feel the need to move around. They probably can't get, teachers can't tell kids no to almost anything as it
Yeah.
is. So if they have special permission because
So
it's their identity, because they're furries basically.
So this would mean that they would also offer a kitten daycare system so I could bring my cat to school. I went to
I
school in
mean,
the
we're not
wrong
going to talk
generation.
about the epidemic of teenage kitten pregnancies,
Telling you
okay?
right now, like they're just leaving them next to Burger Kings outside of, you know what I mean? That's it's not fair.
All I gotta say is these if there's any boys involved in the trend, they better be getting like hooks added to their penis surgically.
Spay and neuter your
Okay.
children. So okay, so then that does that mean is this a slippery slope towards chemical castration, Sonia? What do you say?
Chemical castration.
Wait, no. What did
I
they? I
mean,
guess they don't do that to cats. What are they? Just regular neutering?
regular neutering. Neutering.
I still don't know exactly what they do to the female cats when they spay them, but and I also don't know why they use a different word.
I've somebody told me like a long time ago of why they say spay. I forget now. Um, I don't exactly know what they do to dogs, whether like or cats, what with because I'm not really up to date on my anatomy of female pet
That's exactly because
ovaries.
they were you went to a very non-progressive school and they didn't
Yeah.
have the same amenities that they do nowadays.
It
You
was
know,
the
they're not
90s.
educating kids.
They're not. Yeah, my friend has a daughter that dresses up like a dinosaur. So I don't know. We'll have to see about the egg laying room next.
Do they offer the cat's lunch as well, either a saucer or milk or maybe a fish bone?
I gotta get my friend on here to really tell me about it in person, like to because he's there experiencing it, and it's obviously not the only school that's making accommodations because this headliner at a Punchline last night that Lamar opened for Chris Porter,
Mm-hmm.
he opened up with a whole thing about how there's two kids at his kid's school that are I'm gonna say trans feline again just
I
because
think you're
I
right.
don't want to.
I think that's safe. That's safe enough.
Yeah, that's
I
the
think you're good.
safest. But like, I don't want to steal his joke, but it's like, yeah, that's not science. It's not how science goes. And we're very
Yeah.
scientific here. All right, Pat, we're gonna take a break real quick. We're gonna come right back. I will see you very soon.
Okay. Heck yeah.
All right. And we're back from the break with Yo, That's Weird. Me, Sonia Z. I don't even know if I said my name at the beginning of the episode, but whatever, we're mixing it up here.
Yeah,
Uh
we kind of jumped in with both feet there. We started with philosophy and ended with like cats and shit like that.
cat breastfeeding, cat titty
Cat
suckling.
breastfeeding, yeah. That's perfect. Yeah.
So perfect time for a sponsor to jump in there. Any
Mhm.
cat breastfeeding pad bra manufacturers that want to get on,
Yeah.
you
Anything or what
know?
is that? What do they call the little blanket that you can kind of like hang the
Oh man,
modesty thing or something like that? Or
modesty. Yeah, sure, that sounds right.
I don't know what they call it, but you know what? I
That's
say, who will I be modest? Pull that
that
titty out
might
and get that cat on that tit.
it might be right. Unfortunately, you have to like cover your titty up when you're
Yeah.
breastfeeding your cat,
Yep.
or some man that's not mentally well might just trip
All
over and start suckling your other titty. You
all
don't
of those
know.
hateful politicians just don't trust Americans to see a tit and a cat in the same general area.
On a plane. It's just intimate. We're all friends here.
Exactly.
350 of us, we know each other.
350. Yeah, there is
Uh,
probably 350 people.
I
See now this is how my brain works. This is the problem. This is the issue. I think why you maybe can't remember if you said your name at the beginning or not, or
I
is
don't think I
because
did.
because I kind of feel like I have this like this stupid storm that comes in and it just kind of takes over a lot of times. So I apologize. That might have been my fault. So
Oh,
I trust you.
that's it's not a, don't call yourself stupid. It's a neural disorder, probably one of the many.
I will say genuinely, I always try to listen when somebody asks me to be on a podcast. I try to listen to at least the most recent episode or another episode to get a feel of the episode. And and it just so happens that you had a buddy of mine, Andy, on the most recent episode. But you also, I feel like I was, and I don't mean this to sound like a in a shitty way, but like I was very pleasantly surprised with how knowledgeable you are with like learning disabilities and other things like that, because you were diagnosing like a motherfucker through the whole thing. And so I was like, so when you asked me that story thing, I was like, oh, the first story that came to mind was, I was like, oh, I got one. I think that just it stuck out for some reason.
Yeah.
And then listening to that episode, I was like, I can't wait, because it was a super considerate like responses, and like I feel like you had really insightful. It was a great episode.
Oh,
If
thank you.
stop listening to this one, go listen to that one if you haven't already.
Yeah, I mean, they're all, I go back and like sometimes when I'm recording, I don't think about how it's going. I'm just talking to whoever's here, and then I'll be scared to watch it. Like I don't trust my own self because I don't have a huge ego self.
Mhm.
That, or I
Same.
managed it, I guess, like where a lot of people let it go insane. I'm more like insecure and anxious. So I'll just be
Yeah.
like, oh, this is gonna suck. This is terrible. And then I listen to it and I'm like, oh, there's actually funny parts I could clip out of here and stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's funny the way you described it too, of like I thought of it last night because I was like, oh, we're gonna record tomorrow. I kind of like to make these like mini therapy sessions meet like me giving you like a an honest insight of how I
Yeah.
feel about, because I do know a lot. I've studied psychology as a minor. Anytime I went to college, no matter what my major was, like accounting, okay, I still minor in psychology. It has nothing to do with it, but we have every kind of disorder in my family.
Nice. I think we do too, but definitely undiagnosed. Totally undiagnosed.
A lot of heavy undiagnosed with the neural disorders. And that's the thing, is like everybody now is allowed to, let's say it's like, let's compare it to queer shaming, where like
Mm,
you couldn't be gay even in like our generation. A lot of guys could not come out as like bi when they were young that you
right.
could now. So it's more accepted. And there's still hatred and intolerance, whatever. That's going to take
Yeah.
a long time to cure out of everyone.
But
But
there's
like,
also litter boxes in schools. You know what I
there's
mean? Like,
literally, so yeah, so everybody in the next generation down got to have that freedom to just be gay as hell. Whereas
yeah, yeah.
I even was like bullied and called names, and I wasn't even sure I was really any what I was yet. I was
Mm.
just like, what? And so now it's, I noticed the new thing is we were also 80s kids. I have a theory. I think I talk about it on the one with Drew Montana. Were everyone from the 80s forward was geared with like TV. I think this is one of my made up conspiracy theories. Okay, get ready.
I
It's
love it.
weird
I'm on board.
that commercialism making everything so fast. I see my internet getting ready to kick out if it does, or it's because I'm talking with my hands and I control energy with my hands, so it shakes the screen sometimes.
I'll
Yeah,
help you. I'll
yeah,
help you
thank you.
bear the load.
um uh commercials, like how everything's so fast. TikTok is like 7 seconds, they tell you, and like some of the algorithm like form, like the accounts I'll see of how to grow your account, it's like, don't make it longer than 7 seconds.
Mm,
It's like boom, 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 boom. Pop your food in the microwave. Everything's fast. Everywhere we go is fast. Other countries aren't like America, where they're more like relaxed. Like my sister took a semester in Temple, Rome, and they just don't open restaurants until 4:30 p.m. if they feel
nice.
like it. Whatever. They
I like
don't.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, but you can't. All you can get is cafe
Mhm.
stuff. You can't get and pizza because that's street vendors in the cities, but like outside. So, but it's nice, but it's like the opposite here. You can get any
Yeah.
food you want any time of day here, technically.
Yeah, I think we get controlled by convenience a lot of times. A lot of the negative, in my opinion, a lot of the negative habits I've built has been built out of convenience. Like even when I liked smoking, I liked breaks.
Okay,
I
yeah,
like taking breaks a lot. You know what I mean?
sure.
And when I got into the car, I liked yeah, it is somewhat the feeling. The first cigarette of the day was always like, yeah, fuck yeah. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But anyone after that was just it's just habit. It wasn't. the first one was the only one I really ever enjoyed. The rest of them were just shitty habitual like garbage that I'm doing to my body. But a lot of it would come down to even like fast food. It's not, I don't love the taste of something all the time. Like it's not like I would, I don't, I like to eat McDonald's, yeah. But if I'm eating it every day, it's turning into a shitty habit and I'm not even enjoying it anymore. It's not even a thing like that. So I feel like a lot of those like those bad habits were always built like in that repetitive, like it was a repetitive thing. And it would be it's essentially like it's like it was always, I forgot where I was going with that.
Who hit their weed pen on the break here?
Not me. I promise. It was before.
It was me.
Maybe it's just hitting me now.
It's okay. I'm in charge. You you were, I felt like you were going towards changing that pattern of thought as a way of making it not to take over your
No, no.
idea for you, but like kind of because we were talking about, all right, so kids, next generation under us, the two generations under us that exist right now, are like they were allowed to be openly queer, any kind of identify as a cat if you want. Okay, fine, great, I don't care. It's perfect. It's wonderful.
Right.
But then also they're allowed to now be diagnosed at everyone's, I'm autistic, I'm all DHD, which I think that's me, all you AUDHD. There's difference, there's all kinds of combinations because it's not just, you're never just one thing unless like you're a really one note personality,
Mm.
then maybe you have one mental disorder.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
you can once you identify them, you can do what you did with cigarettes, which is
Yeah.
go, okay, my stimming when I'm in public, if I notice it, I'm either going to get embarrassed and stop doing it and control it, or I'm just going to do it and not care
Yeah.
and whatever. Or yours was like, what did you say earlier about your cloud thinking? You said
Yeah.
something like a cloud.
Essentially, well, I think the point that I was trying to, the point that the connection I was making was like you, the media and the things that we are and like are influencing like our behaviors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same idea. Like I kind of I'm able to break the social media habits and stuff like that, but like my personal habits or stuff like that, I also feel like are, it's not just like, it's not like advertising, it's not anything else. It's strictly just like I don't know why I get stuck in those loops or anything like that. But I don't know. I feel like it is a generational thing because for some reason there's like when I hear people like me talk about it, it's like we have the same issues like uh uh emotional spending, you
Yeah,
know,
I'm telling you, it
behavior.
was bred into us,
Yeah.
like in a way
I'm
with
on board with your theory. I think is essentially
consumerism.
what I was getting around to was like, yes,
Okay,
I'm on
you
board.
agree. Yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, I don't want to like waste too much time on that because that'll I'll go on for hours. But like, so you all right, you want to do your weird story? Or
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mentioned
absolutely.
McDonald's, so I wasn't sure where you were going with, you said McDonald's and I was gonna go, all right, perfect time to talk about food, but then you went back to,
Sorry, yeah.
I like your zigzags. What
Yeah, that's all this is up here
let's
till I
get
get
let yeah
properly medicated.
let's get into this story because sometimes I can go on people's stories for too long. So yeah,
So, okay, yeah. So the house that I mentioned earlier about the one that we had all the buried pets behind was
this
the,
is Tampa
this isn't, oh, St. Pete,
or
technically St. Petersburg, Florida.
fine, Florida.
Technically, I don't
Okay.
know. For some reason, we were really, really sensitive about that. We're not, anytime we're at a concert in downtown St. Pete, if they said,
Because Tampa's
hello, Tampa, we're
garbage.
like, that's fucking 45 minutes from here, loser.
Yeah, Tampa's. It's the way. I live in Lower Bucks County. That's where I grew up,
Mhm.
and that's like the side where the trash dump is and chemical factory. And okay, we're just gonna stop there. And then the other side is Upper Bucks County. It's very nice, beautiful farmland
Yeah.
and rich ass territory.
Yeah, Tampa has beaches and wonderful like
And a
a
skate
ton of,
park.
yeah, theme parks exactly. And well,
No,
I
I
did,
said skate park, but
oh yeah, Tampa Skate Park as well.
yeah,
Yeah, great place to see shows.
yeah.
But anytime like so it was the house I grew up on was at a on a dead end street across the street from a factory. Like the other side of the street where other houses would be is was just a factory making like pool supplies or something like that.
Okay.
So but I grew up in this room with my two brothers, my two older brothers. I was the youngest, and and the story that I thought of that for some reason stuck out to me, which is I got really excited knowing that, oh, maybe you know how to diagnose mental shit. It
Yes,
was
let's go.
one night, out of nowhere in the middle of the night, everybody was asleep. The house was completely quiet. I wake up from a dead sleep, and it's like I can hear what now I've deciphered as, but I didn't know at the time, sounded like an emergency room, like an emergency room, like operating room, because it sounded like a bunch of people rushing around, a lot of panic, like fear, like pain, a lot of like screams and like weird things that I'm hearing, right?
Okay.
But like when I go to cover my head, like I'm looking around and nobody's reacting, and I'm not asleep. This is very clear. I am not. I am. I woke up to this. This is not a
Okay.
dream.
Yeah.
So I woke up, and it was also always really hot in my room as a kid. We only had one wall unit for a long time, and it was in the living room. So we would shut all the doors, turn on the wall unit, and try to
True.
cool the whole house.
True trash because we also did that in a
Yeah, that
very
was
small
like
house.
100%. So a lot of times I would wake up in the middle of the night hot, and I would sleep on the floor because it was cold on the floor,
Sure. Yeah. You're like a
or in
dog.
the yeah, like a dog, or in the doorway of the room, because it kind of met the hallway or the living room, right? So but I'm up, and I'm like looking around, and I cover my head, my ears, and I can still hear it just as loud. It's in my head.
Yeah.
So I'm like hearing all this panic and I'm like, and it's going on for way too long. Like I'm
Okay.
panicking because
How long?
I it feels like probably 5 minutes, but it's
Okay.
maybe honestly, maybe like a 2 or 3
Two. I was
minutes.
thinking two, but like that's enough to where you're
Yeah.
like,
Where it's like, I can't get this to
it's
stop. I can't. I
happening.
was
And what's
trying to just go
happening?
back to sleep. I was like,
Yeah.
what's going on? I can't see anything. Nothing, like everything's normal. I'm in my house. I'm looking at my brothers sleeping. Like, I don't know why I didn't try to wake anybody up,
Sure.
but eventually I just literally curled up on the ground, and just kind of like it just stopped, and I must have fallen back to sleep. That
Okay.
was it.
Okay.
So I never talked about it.
But
I
how
never,
old? How old again?
like maybe 6,
Okay.
like young, 6 or 7, pretty
All right.
between 5 and 7, let's just
All
say.
right. Okay.
So years later, I am now a teenager. In this time, I'm still living in the same house, but I'm in the back room. We built a room on the back porch. We turned the back porch into a room, more
Okay.
white trash.
It's fine.
we closed in the screened in,
Okay.
and I'm living back there. And my grandma had moved into that room that I used to live in. They remodeled it and stuff like that. And in the meantime, passed away there. So this is years and years later. We're kind of just using it for storage. We didn't really take a lot of her stuff out of there, but we put more stuff into the room. We had hung up these like wind chimes in the room that she had hanging outside of her house to kind of make it feel more like home for her when she was living there. And but they just, obviously there's no wind in the room. We didn't there's It's not over any vents. It's not over like the only time we heard any sound was when somebody bumped into them.
Okay.
It's the middle of the night, probably like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm watching Skinamax, and I have the volume like almost off completely because I can't let anybody hear it,
Obviously.
obviously. And we only have the cable in the one room.
Sure.
So my mom and stepdad are asleep in this room. That door's shut. All the cats and the dog are in there with them. Um, Nobody else is home. It's just me that lives at home other than them. And I hear the wind chimes like somebody's just batting them like that.
I don't like that. I don't like
And
that.
this goes on for about probably feels like 10 minutes. Maybe it was actually closer to like 5.
Okay.
And I'm frozen.
Yeah.
I have subsequently turned off the Skinamax to turn it back to, my preview channel, my last channel, just in case somebody's coming. I have a good last channel that I'm like, I'm just watching Comedy Central. It's fine. You know, I switch back to that, and I'm like just sitting there, not looking into that room, but I'm just like listening to it. And it goes on forever and ever. And I just run past that room. Same
Okay.
exact room that weird dream had in. And I told my mom the next day, and she goes, I thought she was going to call me crazy. I never told her about the dream, but I did tell her about the wind chimes. And all she said was, why didn't you wake me up? You should have
Oh.
woke me up, because it's her mom. She
Yeah,
thought it was her mom that was like,
it was. I will tell you that much. Okay.
So I don't know if there's a portal there, if it's
You actually took that thought right out of my head, which
sorry, go
is
ahead.
no, that's fine. There's you. I was gonna joke. I was gonna make a joke, but like a serious, all joking is slightly serious. How that's that room was obviously a portal to hell. No,
Yeah.
or it's in where energies tend to collect. Maybe I think is what we would call what is a portal, where
Yeah.
there's leftover energies from when someone passes and it doesn't have anywhere to go. It can attach to things that have an emotional connection to the person, or especially if the people around, I think, have an emotional connection and think they hung it there. You left the thing there.
Hmm.
And because my sisters have a story about, I live in this is the same house when my sisters were here on younger ages, and one of our cousins, and it's a whole story. I don't want to do the whole thing right now because we don't have the time for it, and it's not my story to tell. But like they unleashed a dead lady's spirit in here.
Oh shit.
It's just Ouija boards were involved, but
Oh no, did they say goodbye at the end? They're supposed to say goodbye at the end.
the thing was they couldn't because a wind came in and knocked them all over
That's
and
terrible.
blew the candles out and stuff. So they
Ugh,
like all their hands went off the board. Like, you know what I mean? And like,
I don't like that
so
ending.
yeah, so it was a thing I've dealt with here over time. That I actually did it on Meg Getz's podcast, The Real
Roast it. Yeah,
Chills.
yeah. I
Yeah,
did. Yeah, I
yeah.
talked about a Gettysburg experience I had there.
I've always wanted to go to Gettysburg. I actually have never been, and I've been talking about that for years.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But it's I think that's it's weird because like I know the like that feeling of like once you I didn't connect it. I didn't connect those two things until you asked me to think of a weird story. And the first when you said weird, I just thought of like that is still to this day. I have no idea. I have no way to explain either one of those things.
the first one is obviously some people scientific answer might be like auditory hallucination is what it's called.
Okay.
Okay, but science doesn't just looks at the technical aspect of things of where your brain could create a sound to you,
Mm.
okay, that no one else would hear. Obviously, everyone would have woken up if they heard everybody screaming,
Yeah, it was my
or
shock,
whatever.
really. It
If
was
you
my
heard
that
the
was my panic. Was like
yeah,
looking at them, going like, "Why aren't you like this
you
is
heard this
so loud?"
crazy. If
Yeah.
you heard this, so it could be like explained as potentially a delay in an auditory processing in between waking up, I guess, and being asleep. Somebody might try to go that way. Now, I might
Oh.
also say at the same time, the way I've read Jung's books on synchronicity and synchronistic events, he had a dream where he his patient that he was treating like killed himself or died. I don't remember the
Mm.
exact detail, but then like he woke up the next day, got a phone call like, "Oh, so and so shot themselves, your patient last night."
Oh, yeah, those stories always
So,
kind of freak me out. Those are
well,
always like,
so think about your dream or you're
yeah,
waking up and having this auditory hallucination thing. And I immediately, while you were telling it, I kind of went, "Oh, he could have been experiencing a connection to maybe someone in your soul family that's in a different part of the world, okay,
hmm
and they were at some kind of event where there would police sirens, screams, all this stuff, whatever you were like kind of describing. That's what it was, right? Like
yeah.
sirens and
It sounded,
screams
yeah.
and
It was hard to like I said, it was some kind of panicked
yeah,
like tree like was it triage? It was like
like
that like
ER
yeah,
triage.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
something like
Okay.
that. Like it
All
felt
right.
like people were frantically working on
So
something that was in pain.
all right, so like, all right, so think about that. All right, so think about that kind of happening somewhere in the world. That could
Hmm.
be anywhere then. That could be right here.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to be another country. Whatever. That could be someone, even if you had someone that's a nurse in your family that's working, that you're picking up their brain energy while you were asleep, because we're all enmeshed in the same one consciousness at all times, asleep, awake, whatever.
Hmm.
And you could have been picking up someone you're connected to's energy from somewhere real in the world and woken up to it because
Like
I
real time, like because it was in the middle of the
like
night. It could have been someone in another
exactly
part of the world, like real time that
because
could be happening.
2 times I've had dreams about plane crashes and then woke up and saw a story about like Malaysia and then there was one in like Indonesia or whatever.
Get the
Obviously, they're
fuck out of here.
yeah, no, and I went, oh, well, that just makes sense for me because I've always been weird and special and had prophetic dreams, which they're saying is, I like TikTok now. I keep seeing this thing where it's like they're saying you don't have a glimpse into the future. You're just good at recognizing patterns because
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
autistic or whatever. And it's like that, I get that in people, the way people act, like, oh, I could see this happening. But like that kind of thing, you can't say that I went to sleep and knew
It's like
about a
the most
plane crash.
useless. it's like the most useless like superpower. It's
It really is.
it's like, oh yeah, my knee hurts, so something terrible is gonna happen today. Look out. Like
Yeah.
I know something's bad because it's like that's it. Like that's as close as like anytime I trust my gut a lot of times, but like most of the time it's like it's hindsight in a lot of cases. It's one of those things where, like I said, these two different things that happen. Like I've always not always I always kind of believed. Like obviously, I definitely believe in some kind of weird parallel universe theory, kind of ghost. I don't know. I have no idea exactly what it
Yeah,
is,
sure.
but I believe in something weird because of my personal experiences. And
Hmm.
that's why I don't feel weird talking about this shit, because a lot of times people, when they say like, when you say, if I'm sure there's people that you've told that my my family released a old ghost in my room that were like, what the fuck you I'm like, oh my god, that sounds terrible. What did you do about it? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I am here to support anything you're willing to talk about, because my mind is open to that shit, cryptids, aliens, any of that stuff, because I've experienced weird unexplainable bullshit that has been like, yeah, people a lot of times, like when you say that could be an auditory hallucination, that's a, but what the fuck is an auditory hallucination? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like
Exactly. And
you just put a name on it and you feel comfortable with it now. Fuck you. I don't I like fish breathe water. That's still weird to me. Isn't that
yeah.
weird to you?
Well, yes, I know sea creatures in general are this whole other. Why can't we just admit they're just aliens that live in the ocean that came here? That probably someone
We
they
got
fell
them
out of the
already.
sky one day. They rained from some weird space storm 10 million years ago. I don't know.
And
Whenever
you
or
talked
believe.
about sleep paralysis with Andy.
Yeah.
And like this is almost like reverse sleep paralysis. Instead of seeing the fucked up shit, I'm hearing the fucked up shit.
Or
And
it's like yeah, it's not reverse. It's like, well, okay, I'll give you one that's like a visual one that I have now as an adult after I dreamed that I almost broke through the Matrix right before the
shit.
new Matrix movie came out and I didn't know anything about it. And me and Seamus both had Matrix where we almost broke through the Matrix dreams in the same month.
Were you guys were you in the same, were you each in each other's dream? Like were you
No,
that
but we just
close?
talked about it later.
Okay.
We just talked both had the same like, oh, I kind of saw like the tank,
Okay,
okay,
yeah.
to be like to make it compare it to the movie, you know what I
So
mean, like the energy of like where my body's controlling this reality remotely from somewhere else, and all of our bodies are actual like what we think is physical here is physical there.
right.
Like if you die here you die there kind of thing, you know what I
Okay.
mean,
So
like.
you felt like you got to, so that's almost like that's essentially lucid dreaming, right?
No, lucid dreaming is when you can just control your dreams that you see of no matter what's happening.
But isn't there something where, no, I guess that's a different dream thing.
All
I'm
right.
taking us off the
You're
course.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
But
So
you had the
anyway,
Matrix dream.
so ever since then,
Uh-huh.
my thing that I have where I wake up and I'm still because I used to always see little demons in the room or little like dark energies, and I would just wake up and tell my one ex because he would always tell me the next morning. He'd be like, you were talking in your sleep again, and you were like, yeah, there's a little guy over in the corner. He's all black, but don't worry, he won't hurt you if you just stay still in bed. And then I just go right back to sleep
Like
and
that's
stuff.
what you would say? That's what you would wake up and say?
Yeah, like full sentences. And I
That's
remember
awesome.
doing it. Because I'm awake. I'm not asleep. So here's the thing: is I'm conscious. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm for and now. So this has been happening to me since last April or whatever it was. I don't know when
Oh,
that
this
was,
is like
but
this is like happening now. I thought this was like this happened.
that happened. But this new one actually
Okay.
is where I wake up and I'm awake for 8 seconds, let's say. Okay,
Uh-huh.
to where I'm like, okay, I'm in my bed. I'm home. I know what year it is, kind of like
Yeah,
energy
yeah.
in my head, and I will have already seen from the dream or see after I wake up. Like last night, I actually had it happen where I wake up and I see some sort of robotic insect come out of the wall. Okay. And
Yeah.
kind of like come towards me in different ways. And one time it was like on my toe doing something. And I kind of
Uh,
like tried to kick it off and it wouldn't get off. And then I would like watched it leave and
it
like
lands on you, you can feel it, but you can't swipe it away.
I can't. It was like I couldn't. I was having a little bit of like just like energetic paralysis where I was
Right.
like so scared because I was awake that like I couldn't lean forward and like do anything. I was just watching it because it's interesting to me because it's not the first time it happened. It's all these different robotic insects that come and just will be in my room and like float like like go like this through the ceiling instead of like disappearing when it
Oh
got to
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
ceiling.
Like how like almost like in a like a video game when like two players kind of like just meld between each other or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just
Homer
like a
Simpson reverse
into
going into the bush.
exactly.
Got it.
So
Damn.
and it just like it startles me to the point because I don't usually get startled by much because I've done lucid dreaming for a long time and I know when I'm dreaming and I know when I'm awake.
So
And
so that's the thing is like that's it's the fact that you know that you're in the reality
I'm in reality. I'm
realm.
awake. I'm awake for a few seconds to where usually I am a light sleeper and a sound or something wakes me up. I'm like up and I'm like,
Yeah.
damn it, I'm awake. I gotta get up and get a drink now or whatever. So the thing with me is that gets kind of weird where I'm like, I don't know, I'm fully conscious and it makes me stop and pause for a second because I don't know exactly what to do. That's one of the few times
So
I'm
you
kind
talked
of
you talked about with Andy, you talked about like you asked him if he remembers his dreams.
mhm.
That is a lot of times like I'll like I don't have there's very rarely that I'll remember a dream, but I remember that like it's the weirdest thing. I know that I'm dreaming. I know that I dream or whatever, but I don't remember it a lot of times. But what I do remember is almost every time I've been like woken up there's been many occasions and it's there's doesn't seem to be really any kind of pattern to it where I'll wake up with it's almost like I don't think it's somebody saying my name, but it's somebody like going like wake up or something like
Mm,
that, like get up, like kind of like somebody waking me up, and I'll wake
that's a
up.
ghost.
Right? Is it, but like nothing else before that, nothing after that, no bugs coming out of the ceiling, nothing landing on me, like no creepy luck again, knock wood, whatever.
Knock
I don't want
paneling.
to, I don't want to, yeah, wood paneling. I haven't had any like sleep paralysis or any kind of deal with like that, but I've had experiences with dreams and whatever that auditory hallucination would have been or
Yeah.
stuff like that throughout the years of just like little experiences, but again, no kind of pattern to it to where I mean, fortunately, I feel bad for the fact that you've had growing or trans what is it like just different transitioning sleep paralysis throughout your life. That sounds terrible to me.
It's deep-seated trauma and just it does
Oh
no.
yeah, I got that too. I mean, I just joked about this last night. I was like, I said something about growing up in Florida. I said, it really wasn't that bad. There's a couple years I don't remember. I think that's trauma, but other than that,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, yeah, legitimately, there's like a couple years that I just don't
You're
remember.
blocking something out there. We're
That's
not
not good.
going we're not gonna get that.
That's for the next show again.
Yeah, that's we're gonna have to have you back on just that. No, but like so mine was like doctors would say mine was a visual hallucination. Okay. But I don't
Mhm.
have hallucinations any other time. I've taken acid. I know what a hallucination is. I know
Right.
what when I'm awake, I know when I'm asleep. I know hallucination and I know I'm not like that. That's and so I get like I try to think about how that could occur between the two of us, where you could still hear something in this physical realm
Mhm.
that you heard while you were asleep or
Yeah.
whatever. Like it woke you up, and mine will wake me up. Like the one on my toe, I kind of went like I tried to like kick it off with my toe. I tried to
Yeah.
just if it was a bug, I should just be able to kick it off, but it was
Right.
like still attached, kind of
Yeah.
like it
And
had
did you
like
feel it like when you kicked it? Did you feel it with your other foot? Like, did it feel like your like foot just ran off it, or it was
no,
like,
it was like if my toes were like this, it went like this into my toe, into my big
fuck that?
toe. And I kind of went like, ugh, I like kicked my foot like this to kick it
Yeah.
off, and then it went like and went to the corner of my room and back and morphed through the
You're
ceiling.
you're on another level of fucking dreaming.
I
This is
am
fucking
no, because
crazy.
I've done
Teach
regular
me.
dreaming for I've done regular lucid dreaming and stuff for so long that I think my brain is open to those kind of adventures. I like to
Mhm.
call it because it makes me kind of like okay if like I can see things other people can't see.
You're going on quests.
Like I like it. And maybe yours was like an opening to something you don't realize you have
Right.
where we're like able to perceive events
Hmm.
that are happening in the collective unconscious that are real or like some because if the matrix is real that could be real.
Yeah. I don't
I,
I have a weird kind of matrixy theory on ghosts in general and spirits, I guess, or afterlife or paralore, whatever, is essentially where like it's kind of a movie idea I had, but it was where like a like when you're sleeping and when you have like a crazy dream where you're like, oh, everybody's running around and everybody's doing this, like you're actually the ghost in their dimension.
Oh
So
yeah,
like,
for
and you
sure.
like people are running from you, they're terrified of you. And then when you see a sleep paralysis demon, they're like, where the fuck, whose house is this? And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, she's just sleeping there. And like walking closer to you, like they're not being creepy, they're just terrified of you, they don't know what you are.
I or like who's this person that I don't know that I have a crush on? Like, you know what I mean? When you like kiss someone in your
Yeah.
when you like kiss someone in your dream and you're like, why? I've never saw that person in my life. Who was I just
Yeah, who
making
was
out
that?
with or something? No, that's actually I really like that theory a lot. That's very interesting. It's it kind of makes me like it goes to something I say where like I think dreaming is technically when you get to the point where you know and you recognize and you're lucid like the way I am, that you're touching down in multiverses of
Yeah,
yourself, of
yeah,
your
yeah,
other incarnations in whatever. Because this the think about that 7 incarnations here on Earth, I think you definitely incarnate on other planets or other galaxies or other universes or other whatever.
planes,
Because
yeah, other planes of
they
existence,
just
whatever.
announced they just found I just what did I see today? Like, I don't know, some insane number of new galaxies that they just discovered in the
Yeah,
like 800, let's say.
yeah.
It's like,
I
okay,
I
it
kind of
was
want to say like stop looking because like it's just, can we just say infinite, infinite? Like it's
infinite.
just
We
you did
don't
it.
know. We can't
When?
grasp it with our human minds. And they spent, and it took them, we're like, it only took us 800 hours or something to figure out this data or whatever it was. And it was like, yeah, well, like, I don't know. We can't really figure out how to get there yet.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
maybe like
Yeah, that's like
focus
okay.
on
So
that
can we get
part.
there? Like, can we see it?
Like,
No, not really.
okay, you
You
can
know
see it
they're
on a
there though.
telescope. Yeah, we're looking on telescopes. Like, okay, we get it. I understand. I can grasp the size of things in outer space are so huge that to think that we already know we're not the only just galaxy,
Yeah,
let alone universe.
yeah,
So I think I like Interstellar's theory of like time travel and existence, if you've seen that.
yeah.
So with that, if your souls are the same energy, whether this body is dead or alive.
That is, by the way, that would be my least favorite incarnation, to reincarnate behind books. No!
No, you're just like, hello, can you hear me? Is this
I'm,
thing
tra-
on?
I'm trapped in books. Help me.
It sucks back here.
Please help me. Pushing books off the shelf. I'm not a ghost, I promise.
I know. So yeah, I firmly think that it's kind of like a uh way to do that though. Like you said, I could be the one behind the books trying to get the message through
Mm,
to my other self or just other people through the lifetimes that you've met or that are existing right now, because souls don't energy doesn't know time and space the way we do. A soul can just
yeah,
blink there
yeah,
to this
yeah.
other place.
Your whatever your consciousness is, whatever it is, like people say energy, man,
It's
or if it's
electricity.
this,
It's pure. It's electricity that
it's real.
fires
Yeah, that's a
stuff.
real
Yeah,
thing.
it's tangible, and you
There's a
can't
difference
destroy it.
between, you can't, yeah, exactly, it cannot be destroyed.
Yeah,
So if you're
scientifically.
if you're able to, like, this is the kind of shit that we're like, instead of just being, and I don't mean this sound like a fucking condescending piece of shit, but like instead of just being like, I'm going to put my faith in something, if you legitimately actually like self-reflect and you really like try to think about, like, challenge what the fuck is, like I said, oh, it's just an auditory hallucination, what the fuck is that?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like trying to like go on past it and stuff like that. You can actually really get a real insight of like what you actually do believe truly inside your heart. And like that's, and you feel a lot less weird talking about it because it kind of makes sense. What you're talking about really makes sense of like, look, I'll be with you on the soul. I do believe there is in this essence a soul. Now let's talk about where does that energy go? You can't destroy it, stuff like that. Like there's
Hmm.
real practical questions that you can ask and answer here. Like, so like I wish more people would kind of talk like us. And
I
that's
think
the part where
it's
I was like, I knew it was going to sound like a condescending asshole.
no. I mean, I know certain people will agree with these things, and certain people will go, no, that's insane. The soul's energy of his grandma did not wiggle around the fucking
Then what the fuck happened?
the what do you call it, wind chime
Right.
thing. And and the soul energy didn't knock over my sisters from this dead lady's chair cushion that they ended up with. We're not going to tell the whole story now, we don't have much time here
I'm
left.
going to listen to that episode.
Yeah. I really had fun talking to you about this crazy stuff. We'll have to have you back on because we didn't get to a strange food you like unless you want
Oh
to
yeah.
take another break and come back on.
I'm
It's
I'm up for one more if you want to hit it real quick.
all
I do
right,
have
all
it in
right.
mind.
Listen, I don't mind going long. It's fine with me. I will get you back on. We're gonna clock out here, get a drink of water, get a bowl pack, whatever you people do in between, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
No, don't apologize. Thank you so much. We're back with Pat George. We took a third break. We'll call it third half, like at Raven.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is this how I said I was a hockey fan earlier. This is just, this is
Uh,
the last period.
Last period. I love it. I'm not even a huge, huge hockey fan, but I saw the Flyers one. And I was like, go Flyers.
That's right. Go Birds and Flyers.
Go Birds, Flyers, Sixers. I don't know. Everybody, go everybody.
Um,
Um,
but
yeah.
yeah, you were so gracious to extend your day for me to explain the weird snack that I had in mind.
Oh yeah, because I like to try different weird things and hear different people's weird takes on what is something you eat that's I don't know, maybe the people listening will either throw up in their car or wherever their office, wherever they are, or
Yeah, or maybe they'll
try
say
it out. Maybe
something
they'll
weird.
make it later that night because they're weird like you. So what's Pat George? Tell us.
So mine is in that same house. We had neighbors next door neighbors we call them.
Tampa. Good old
Yeah,
Tampa.
St. Petersburg, damn it.
Sorry.
So it was this is also where I learned about subtle racism. My mom referred to them as the Vietnamese. But she referred to their
The
race, but not the
like
fact that
like
they're people.
like the Facebook, like when old
Yeah,
people say that.
yeah, exactly. She couldn't say the Vietnamese family. She
Yeah,
just said the Vietnamese. So they
sure.
were very nice people. I hung out with their kids all the time. And they taught me about a snack that I still to this day have not heard anybody else having.
Okay.
So the ramen noodle bricks that you get, like
Mm-hmm.
the packets, right?
Sure.
I grew up always making them where you drain the water and then you add the packet and you just eat the noodles. And then I heard about people eating them as soup. But when
You
I
said that like it's insane.
it's great, I know, like these fucking weirdos, right? But get this.
It's soup. It's made.
Little Twee next door taught me a little trick where you smash up the brick in the
Okay.
bag.
Okay. I've
You
seen
take
people
the
do that.
you take the packet out, you pour
Okay.
it in the bag, you shake it up,
Okay.
and you eat it like chips.
My mind is blown.
Isn't that crazy? Eat dry ramen?
I feel like that's probably consumed in prison quite often.
Yeah, I think it may have been. It was. Now we're not talking about the cup of noodles. No, 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 that would be weird.
The square plastic package.
Yeah.
You're actually the second person to bring ramen up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're only, and I
I,
realized I said the wrong episode number. This is episode number 8.
yeah.
Welcome to the end of the episode, number 8, Infinity.
If you caught
Um,
that mistake, you win a free T-shirt.
I didn't introduce myself. It's fine. Everything's weird here. It's fine.
Just put the name of this episode. Start this episode from the end.
I'm so hungry that like I'm not supposed to eat that much salt that's in a packet of ramen in like a whole day. That's too much for me because of my kidney transplant.
Uh,
So like I will eat stuff like that though once in a while. I'm just like, fuck it, treat yourself. You know
well,
what I mean?
the only other ramen, like the other, it's weird how many like Swiss. It's like the Swiss Army food in my house because we could eat it. Like I said, just the noodles, the soup, the chips. I learned later on about cheesy ramen, where you put the ramen in there, you drain the water, you put in a little, like maybe a tablespoon or two of butter, and
Sure.
then a handful of cheddar cheese grated in
Okay.
there with it, and mix it around with the packet. Now you've got cheesy ramen.
Yeah, my friend I talk about on the other episode how my friend used to do it where she would do the butter. She would
Yep.
just put butter and cook it down and put like the seasoning packet in with the butter and just cook it that way and make like buttered noodle ramen
Yeah.
basically.
It's just
Uh,
just
I
worse.
never did the cheese or heard of the cheese.
I'm telling you.
But
Game changer.
I did have someone tell me about this Korean soup
Hmm.
like pack that you get and it comes with like a cheese that you sprinkle in there.
Oh, really?
Yes, and she made me get it's Kellen. Actually, I don't know if you've met James Moss's girlfriend Kellen ever, but
No,
I
but I'm
don't.
gonna look that up.
It's yeah. If you can't find it, let me know because I could send you a picture. She was like sent me a pic, showed me a picture to look for it at this little market by her house.
Yeah, yeah. That
But
any type of new food like that, I'm down for trying any kind of, because I feel like a lot of ethnicities kind of have very similar tastes or like entrees at least. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
they're like different variations on takes from the regions that they're
yeah.
all close enough, some of them in certain parts where they're like different types of Indian food or
Mhm.
whatever. There's all the different. But I wanted to ask you what when you ate the chips
Yeah.
version, the chips version of the ramen noodles, what flavor did you
I can't say it anymore. It's technically now it's been renamed as soy sauce flavor.
okay.
It was the blue packet.
I'm trying to or oh, was it the O word?
Mm-hmm. Which I, if I may, I argue, I don't think that was ever meant to be racist or hateful in any way. I think it was confusion from restaurants.
It was yeah when restaurant menus and think about how far back probably when do you think ramen started in the 70s or something like when the company actually started because all that
Probably,
print
yeah.
the print all looked super 70s. They were like, okay, well, this is not beef, it's not
It's
pork,
not beef, it's
it's not chicken,
salty.
it's not shrimp, it's the region that it's from, but it's not just one region like we just said, it's orientation.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. Okay, so I was at a if you go to a Chinese food restaurant and then you can order Thai curry and you can
Sure.
get Japanese sushi.
Yeah.
It wasn't out of hate. It was the fact that we were like, oh, we thought that was cool. And
My
by and
grandma
if it
still says it probably
oh yeah,
sometimes.
totally. Well, my like I said, my mom still says the Vietnamese instead.
Yeah.
So there's ways of saying there's still definitely there's worse ways to say things. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with the word. And I do argue if they don't want it, I'll take it because I'd like to be called that rather than Caucasian. I'll take it. I
I
think it
used
sounds
to I
cool.
used to say something about that word because it's like I didn't what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Just like uh
But yeah,
but
I
I
was
joke about the word actually because I with Instacart we were talking about doing Instacart the ethnic foods aisle, it's just called that on the sign and I feel like that's worse than saying Oriental. I
right.
gotta be
It's
honest
kind of
with
like
you.
weird. It's weird to say like, oh yeah, this is the ethnic style. Like,
Like,
okay.
oh, I'm just looking for something for some ingredient I need.
Yeah,
Like
I need
I
some
need
kind of ethnic. It's weird that there's the Eastern European aisle, and then there's still also like an ethnic aisle. I think it's
Oh,
at
not where I live. It's
yeah.
there's just ethnic and it's everybody in there. It's all that's not regular American.
Oh, it's not hamburgers. Yeah, it's
It's
the ethnic.
not it's not 8 million processed ingredients or whatever. No, I know it's still processed, but like it's not your basic. If you need anything for any dish that's not just made by Heinz or the ConAgra food group or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
it's not anything by Goya, La Choy,
yeah,
anything like that. Anything that's hard. Anything that none of the employees can say.
yeah. If you're making Oriental food that night for dinner,
Exactly. That was the
okay.
that was the flavor. I thought that was the funniest thing. I thought that I wasn't sure this is not the same thing, but I don't know if this is why they changed it, but the cookie Samoa, they changed to
They
the
did.
caramel delights.
Yes, because of that's what Hawaiian or something. They're Hawaiian people basically, or some of them are Samoan, or is it something like that? I forget
Like,
what the
yeah, but it's also like I don't but it was also like what but it wasn't saying like fuck
listen.
Samoa. But
Yeah,
it was just
y'all are sweet and delicious people. Let me
yeah.
eat some of you.
Yeah, this is wonderful. We love coconut. Don't you have that
Yeah,
there? Like
yeah. I think that's what it like boiled down to, as it was
that's the
losing.
problem, Sonia. We're the problem. That's
What a
it.
problem. Eating delicious cookies that little girls are led to sell for the.
I will say that if anybody hasn't ever tried, I in reminiscing of this weird snack, I thought of because I definitely like some disgusting things for sure. I like hard boiled eggs. I love hard boiled
Hard
eggs.
eggs are not disgusting.
Not at
People
all.
think they are, but like some people joke about it, but everybody pretty much will eat a deviled egg if they're at a party. Pretty much
Exactly.
everyone will eat that.
Yeah. And if you say you don't like deviled eggs, then that pretty much means that you don't like joy. I feel like.
Yeah. Go on Eric Terrell's episode of this podcast if you want to if you want to learn about his hard boiled egg fetish. Uh,
Oh, I might
um,
skip that one.
I think he might have been ramen too, actually. So maybe
Oh,
you
okay.
just skip to that part.
Like ramen, I'm down for it.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. Ramen chips I'm still thinking about. I like have a packet of the Bulldog brand downstairs that somebody gave me that's the super spicy.
Oh,
Like
that might be
uh
risky. Yeah.
I know. So I was like, I'm not gonna try that. But I don't
I
know.
also feel like there should be some kind of like there's ways to improve on it, but I've definitely never heard of anybody eating them dry like that. And like
No.
since then, but like for like a hot fucking summer, probably it was that and it was Andy's hot fries that summer. I
Oh,
think it was a
I
lot
ha-
of salty chips.
I had a friend that was the only snack she would ever buy was
Yeah,
hot fries. Pretty
yeah.
much it. Like
It was
she
just kind of
wouldn't
like
really.
once I had money at any point in my life, I started buying any snack that like just intrigued me even a little bit. There was kind of like warheads, any kind of like there was one like, there's trial and error for sure, but there once that kind of opened up the world, like this was always an entree. This is not a snack. Now you can just turn it into you just crush it and it's a snack now. Like I could eat this anytime, anywhere. I
Yeah.
felt invincible, Sonia. So
I mean, I like it. I feel like you might have consumed enough deep fried noodles or whatever they are in there, whatever they do to them to make them in that brick shape.
yeah.
They do. I think they one brand. I don't know if both brands do it, but they fry them. I watched
You,
the how it's made.
that's really fucking cool. Actually, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I would always think that if once I drank water later on or liquid, I was like, are they turning into soft noodles in my tummy?
Oh no, I
I
don't
hope so.
know. Maybe. I wonder if it's like McDonald's fries that like never truly digest through your
Yeah,
digestive tract. It's
that's
just it
probably
goes
closer
through
to it.
unharmed.
Yeah, if there's a chemical process when you cook them that actually helps them break down a little bit more, but when you don't cook them, then it's just like gum. I just have like
Yeah.
pounds and pounds of ramen noodles in my stomach.
It sucks. It's like I get it why they're so cheap because they're the worst food for you. They're literally deep fried and then so much sodium in those little
Yeah,
packets.
like you just said, that's a day's worth that you're allowed to have
Yeah, like
without dying.
like having a stroke, like
Yeah,
potentially having a stroke or
it's terrifying.
something. Like you know what I mean? It's like you can't drink enough water, but they're delicious. I don't it's I love delicious salty little soups. I have that spicy one down there. I was saving it for that's my emergency if I ever catch a cold that I
Oh yeah,
can't like just shake.
yeah. I think that is for in this house. It's a Lipton soup mix, like the little pack.
The
Like there's a packet of
yellow
chicken noodles.
kind.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
think the red box. We do
It's
red
like a
box.
red box, but it's yellow. Like when you pour it in the like when you pour it out, it's like yellow colored
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
seasoning. Yeah,
That's
and
the
they're
one.
just like those are a good backup. Any hot soup will crush any like virus in the back of your throat. People don't realize that sometimes. You
Yeah,
just
if there wasn't supply chain issues, we would have had COVID knocked out a lot sooner.
it's just this damn little yellow, red Lipton boxes.
Yep.
Um, we
And
used
some
to
Sprite.
we used to get Mrs. Grass soup as a kid. Did you ever have Mrs. Grass soup?
Grass. No,
Mrs. Grass was the two blue boxes stacked like it was two packages like
mm-hmm.
this, and they broke in half at like a, a dotted line in the cardboard, like a perforation. It was two
Mm-hmm.
packs, and it was basically the same, like the yellow with like the short egg noodle soup. You just boil the water in the pan. It gives you a packet of seasoning
Mm-hmm.
separate. So I liked that one because you could add as much as you wanted
Yeah,
instead of it being mixed in. But
yeah.
they also gave you a little golden egg of flavoring that came in there with it. It was a little
Like a little
soft.
bouillon.
It was a little soft jelly liquid
Ugh.
gold bouillon thing that was probably broth concentrate because I get that to cook with instead of bouillon cubes because you can
Yeah.
control how much and it's a little less sodium. It's like you spooned it out, but I don't know. It was just this. We loved it because you got to put the little. I'd be like, I put the little egg in. My mom would be
Is it
like, all right.
isn't that funny like how many like I never had those those little sponges like stuff like that, but like little things like that were so satisfying, like oh, can I put in the bay leaf, or let me put in let me stir the whatever, can
Yeah,
I remember any of that stuff, like anytime you were given like a little responsibility like
small
that.
task.
It was it's not as sweet as your story, but I remember when my mom used to let me flick her cigarettes out. That was pretty cool. It was cool, like a
Yeah.
little. It was like she when she
Well,
used to visit the office, she used to do medical transcription at home.
okay.
And when we dropped the tapes off when I was too young to go to school, I would go with her to the office. So she'd hang out with the ladies at the office and smoke her Winston Light 100s. And when she was done with them, she'd like, when it was time to flick,
You,
put the cigarettes on,
yeah,
she'd be like, I'm like, Mom, let me do it. And she'd like,
and
wait,
she'd let you.
yeah, because it'd hit the puddle and go like
That's
that.
hyper trash. That's
Yeah.
hyper trash.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's funny because I was just thinking yesterday about how Well, it's going to come out on your episode. I'm going to say it now. I already told my brother I would probably say it on here. Found out I might have an older sister I never knew about. So,
Ooh.
but what I thought about, because she was asking me about our dad then at that point. And
Mhm.
I was like trying to think of things to tell her and like anecdotes or something. I was like thinking like she probably thinks because he was a nice guy, whatever. I didn't grow up with him. My brother and sister did, but he would let me drink Heinekens when I was like 3. And I was like, I'm cool. I
Yeah,
don't
it's like
know.
one of those things. It was a fun memory. What are you talking about?
I mean, other countries do it, and
Yeah,
he's an immigrant, so
we were
it's like
cultured. Okay.
it's not. It's if you give little kids a small taste when they're younger, then there's less alcoholism. It's proven because in other countries like UK and stuff, it's less of
Dude,
a
what about with you?
taboo. I never had. I'm not an alcohol. I don't have the addiction gene. I consider myself very lucky. Lucky the disease, whatever gene causes that mutation or disease or whatever part of your brain has
Hmm.
the addiction. I quit cigarettes just like because they were too expensive. I was like,
Oh,
nope, it's
nice.
too
Yeah.
much money. Like you know, what I mean, I can't. I've done addictive drugs in the past, but I was never addicted. I just like didn't care and would try everything because I was fucked up and
This
whatever
is
was there. But
that's Carmela. Sorry.
oh, okay.
But yeah, they
You got cat visitors like the fucking tarot card ladies I watch on YouTube.
but yeah, I don't have the addictive, I don't think, but I have more of a, I think in our family we have impulse control issues.
Sure, I
So
have that.
there's like a, I think there's a low threshold for reward systems, or there's like a, there's,
I do it with food. I would say is my biggest like addiction, but it's not. It's I can easily just change my diet if I really commit
yeah.
to it. I just have a sugar thing because I cut out like everything else since my transplant. Pretty much, I'm just like,
Yeah, you had to. Yeah, you had
yeah,
to live. So I
yeah,
guess that's a lot. I guess when you're given that kind of ultimatum, I think when it's a choice, a lot of times, I, unless I'm like fully in my routine, like mentally and sound, like I'm mentally sound, I definitely fall off the, because I feel like the, whatever it may be, like I was talking about that earlier, breaking those, like breaking habits and shit like that, like that. I feel like that's part of the, that's part of the negative part of it, is the
mm.
fact that like I have like as soon as I think of fast food, I'm like, oh well, like yeah, I'll probably just stop there. I've already lost the battle.
As soon as we started having this part of the conversation and I was thinking about snacks and my problem with food, I'm literally in the back of my mind, I could hardly focus on what you're saying because I know I have little mini cookie sandwich, party cake
Oh
cookie sandwich with icing in the middle, and they have like sprinkles on the outside from Walmart Bakery
yeah,
downstairs in the fridge. I have 2 left, and I was like, oh, those
and
are
they're in your head now. They're on the menu now. Like that's what, it's
they're.
one of those things. Like
I didn't even eat yet today. I was like waiting for the game to come on, and I'm gonna like get some stuff going. Like I fasted for the game,
you
but
fasted for the game.
yeah,
So I, yeah, I think there's like that weird thing like where I definitely don't have, but I eat and spend a lot of times emotionally. So like there's that kind of stuff where it's not like a, it's not an addiction, it's more of an impulse, like
sure,
it's a
yeah.
reaction. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's where the disease of addiction, my sister is a recovery counselor, my one sister, and it really is. It really truly is. And I feel I genuinely, if anyone needs help out there, you know, my DMs are open for that. My sister has a great she runs a great program where she works. And whatever works for anyone individually to get through anything. Food is one of the hardest though. And I'm
Yeah.
still thinking about different snacks that I'm like, what else? What else we got, Pat?
I'm
I'm
so
like
glad I
trying
ate before the podcast, like because I would be
to
definitely going through. We would be just sitting here. We would have talked the whole 2 hour, 2 or 3 hours about like fucking zebra cakes. You know what I mean? Like it would have just been like,
What's your favorite like game day snack now that we're on the subject?
let me tell you. I love, so I like a thing where I don't necessarily, if I'm at the game, right? I like peanuts or popcorn because I don't have to look at it.
Oh, those are my 2 worst options, but
Really?
because you have to keep constantly touching it with your hands, and I have a
Oh
thing
yeah.
with the
Well,
keeping
yeah,
my
I don't
hands
share
clean
it.
now.
Yeah, it's me, and it's like I'm at my seat. I'm doing this. I'm in a
Yeah,
routine. You know, like,
sure. That's your
but
choice. It's your choice. It's not my snack.
then if I'm at a game, like I like a spread, but I love a nacho.
Okay. What about home parties?
Home parties, you know, oh man, I would say my go, like game day, like I really do, I like easy stuff like that. Like I like like a big sandwich. I like a
Okay.
big, like a big, like a big
Big ass
spread.
hoagie.
Yeah, big, yeah, hoagie, like cold or hot. You don't do it hot a lot, you know what I mean? But that, and I like sweets. So I like going salty to sweet to salty to sweet a lot of times. Like, so I'll
Yeah.
start a quarter out with like a sandwich, some cookies, then the next quarter, you know what I mean? Same idea.
Yeah.
I space it out, but I don't
Um,
drink. So
yeah, that's me too. That's
that's
me
my
too.
vice.
So my food is one of my big where I'll mix up. Last night I was just eating like I got fried ranch dill pickle potato
Oh,
chips
fuck yeah.
and they were wavy, and then I had like Dove leftover like peppermint chocolate little like squares from
Oh, yeah, those little
Christmas.
ones. Yeah, the little tinfoil ones.
Yeah, because when I go out on Instacart deliveries, sometimes if I like go to the clearance section like the right after the holidays and just like 6 bags, or like there'll be like 44 cents or whatever for the like, you
We
know
were
what
gonna
I
do that
mean?
this year for Starburst jelly beans. Anytime it's Starburst jelly bean season, we
They're
try to
so
stock
good.
up.
I got them for my grandma. She's a big
Where'd you
jelly
find
bean
them? Tell
gal.
me. What chain?
Oh, Walgreens, I think.
Oh, I'll check that
Yes.
out.
I don't
We've been
know.
hunting for them.
Yeah, but it's gonna be Easter soon or whatever. I don't know. I guess Valentine's Day too might have a version of those, like all pink ones or something. I bet.
They're smart for. I mean, to me, seasonal snacks or foods.
Genius.
I
They
know
got
that
me.
I am a trash piece of shit.
They're
I know that I'm a trash piece of shit because I get excited. I get excited for the McRib. I am very sorry, everyone.
I'm gonna
I'm
say
the one they've been bringing it back.
I honestly don't even know if maybe I ever had one besides when they originally came out when we were little.
It's
Like I don't know if I have ever really had one since.
I think it's that. I think it might be the nostalgia of it, and
Yeah.
it's really not that bad. Everybody says
Okay.
how bad it is. It's really not that bad. And I've had it since an age. Like the Batman Forever movie was coming out. They had the prize. They had the song "Kiss by a Rose" was playing. They
I was
got
at
the
this is random. I was at the gym yesterday and I was on the bike and like I was looking at TV and like Seal was performing that song on whatever it was. I was
yeah,
like,
for a
what
McRib.
is
He's singing
happening?
it to a McRib. It's the anniversary.
It's they're bringing it back and that was the commercial.
Well, they keep saying, like it's when it's anytime something starts to have that exclusivity or something like that. I always like those chocolate oranges around
Oh,
Christmas
I remember
time.
those. Yeah, sometimes we
Yeah,
would get them. If when I was a kid, I was like, they are disgusting. But then I got to one age and I was like, where's the orange? Get
they
the fucking
fucking
orange
rule.
out here.
Yeah.
Break that thing in pieces.
It's first of all, that's it's satisfying to smash it on the counter.
Then you have like this like soft sensory experience of like a soft orange slice that's like smooth instead of wet.
Yeah. And the fucking detail that they put
The
into each
detail.
individual like little slice of it is like it's a very impressive candy, if I may. So if there's definitely seasonal treats that I love that
Little
make me
treats.
like that are weird, probably that most people like love to trash, but I like candy corn's good. I like it.
I like the one with the brown tips.
Yeah. I like it all.
Um, I like
It
that
all has a
one.
place, you know?
Sometimes my grandma will get the mix with like the little pumpkin in there, and then the little like there's regular candy corn. There's a little pumpkin. There's what else is in there? I forget. It's like fall mix or something.
Yeah.
I'll even crush those.
There's just so much that it's not ever. I always say about like whether it's like I've said it about my favorite band that they're my favorite band, but I'll never ever say that they're the greatest band of all time.
Sure.
It's like it's
People
one of those
people
things.
hate
I
my
know it's my
favorite
opinion.
band. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I
Yeah.
get it.
It's the same thing with it's the same thing with my eating style or the menu that I have. I feel like is a lot of times it's kind of like it's mostly textures, and it's a lot of times it's really just I just like trash food sometimes, you know.
I mean, if you're what you know what you know.
And I feel like I have that past just because a lot of times I don't do a lot of harder drugs. I don't drink I barely drink at all. Like I can't say I don't because I have and I do,
Yeah,
but I
whatever.
don't.
I
It's
get it.
not like, yeah, I don't I like I can't even clock it. It's like one of those things of like, have you had this many drinks in this month? Like anytime you go to the doc, I'm sure many times like filling out
They ask you
paperwork,
on the farm. Yeah.
it's like, do you have this many
One
drinks?
to five. It's like 1 to 5, whatever,
Yeah, days a
something like
week. Like,
that.
no, not even
Yeah.
that. Like, not
No.
even that many drinks in a week. Like,
No, my rule since last year, at the beginning of last year, my resolution thing was to do like I'll take a shot on someone's birthday
yeah,
or when someone from out of town and everybody's celebrating and like a, comes through and does a show or something, I'll be like, yay, whatever. And like one
Yeah.
shot, that's not worse than one trip to McDonald's. That's how I look at it. It's all
Yeah.
bad for you. It's all poison, a lot of it. It's sugar's poison, but I love it.
That's the problem I have. That's the problem I run into a lot of times is the sugar part of it. Is like
Yeah.
I know that once I found out you can drink calories, I
Oh,
was
it's
like,
so
oh
bad for you. Like
no,
soda
that's
is
what I've
so
been
bad for
doing.
you. Yeah, I
Oh
know.
no, liquid is calories too. I thought it was just the hard stuff.
No, I
Whoops.
know, I know a lot about nutrition too. So it's like I know all the risks involved. And that's why I think I just let myself sometimes. You're like, I don't care. I bought that package of those. There was these little cookies, those Walmart cookies downstairs. They're like literally, they're so small. It's like 250 calories in one little one. I could
You were
easily
so
eat
excited about those
three.
fucking cookies.
I'm still so I'm
You know,
so excited.
I've gotten to the point now because at one point I was like 413. I was
Okay.
413 pounds
Oh,
at my biggest,
that's pretty
and
big, dude. I'll say that's pretty big.
it's huge, yeah, big time. And it was kind of like it got down to a point where now I've my rock bottom or my like spiral has gotten so like if it's like, oh my god, I ate a Kit Kat last night, past 8 o'clock. Oh, I'm a piece of shit. You know what I mean? My bar has moved so much higher. So like I feel like cheat days is one of those things, but my cheat days sometimes will turn into like cheat weeks
Sure.
or other things. So it's I building good habits is always a good thing, but also eating the fucking cookies, especially when the birds are playing. The
I
birds are
mean,
singing out there. The birds are playing on there.
it doesn't even matter, but yeah, it's I that's funny you said you admonished yourself because I did that last night too. I had these little, they were shaped like little tiny cupcakes in a box. So they had rows of flavors like lemon poppy seed and like actual cupcake flavors, and the one was like chocolate fudge. And I was like, okay, I'll have one of each, please.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll sample. Like
Just
I
like,
want to try each
and
one.
then I was like, you're a piece of shit.
You have to after it, and you're like in relation to what I used to do or what could have happened today is like this is pretty good. So
It's a learning curve. It's a progress. It's a lifetime.
yeah, I've come a long way from dry ass ramen now to where I'm like I have like a handful of again like I it's funny that I mentioned peanuts earlier. I got a bag of peanuts the other day, and like again if I eat a whole bowl of them by myself, I'm like that feels pretty good. I feel okay.
That's a lot of peanuts.
It's a lot of peanuts, right? It's like I everything in excess
Are you doing shelled or unshelled?
shelled. Right.
Okay, that makes sense with a bowl then, because I was thinking of a
Okay,
bowl
okay.
out of a bag, like the
You're right.
loose
I
ones.
should have specified. I should have a mount, just like eating it with a spoon. Like, oh,
Yeah, like
I fucking love
cereal.
this shit. That
Um.
and also shout out to fucking Polars, like those seltzers. Any of
Oh.
those?
Oh. Okay.
That's got me off. So soda was the biggest thing for me to lose weight. Like I had a huge thing, even with like Diet Cokes. Man, you give me a fucking ice cold Diet Coke. Oh mama, I don't give a fuck. I'm in heaven. I love Diet Coke with some ice and some fucking crunchy ramen.
Yo, oh my God. That's the food they eat in Idiocracy.
It
That's
is
what they
all
serve in
chemical. Yeah, well,
schools in
it gives you
Idiocracy.
electrolytes.
Definitely got electrolytes. I actually got used to diet soda, even though when I was a kid, I was like, this is fucking disgusting. And I couldn't, because after my transplant, they made me drink Diet Dr. Pepper to raise the phosphorus in my blood, which is like,
Yeah,
that's doctors for you. When there's plenty of other ways to get it from foods, they just don't know nutrition. Doctors
yeah.
don't know nutrition. So they're just like, this is a quick way. So I got used to drinking that
It's not. Yeah,
diet
it's like they're
flavor.
MacGyver or something like that. Like we don't have any other way. Break open that convenience. What is it? Vending machine. God damn it!
I'm gonna
I'm
bring up
losing my head now.
I get you. I'm gonna bring up a disgusting trash alcohol chaser since I don't drink much. I'll do a shot. That's one of my things I like to do. To just like a quick, it's fun, whatever. It's a little blast. Diet Coke to chase Jameson
Ooh.
is what Kyla. I don't know if you know Kyla. She used to always do that.
Uh huh.
And so I'll always ask for like a patented Diet Coke chaser at
Oh.
like Helium Bar. And it's, you think it's gross, but for some reason it's just like, because like whiskey and Coke is good.
I, I went to a Miami Dolphins game against the Cincinnati no against the Cleveland Browns one time. We had great seats, and I drank an entire bottle of Tanqueray
Oh
in
my God.
in the Tanqueray mixed with Diet Sprite.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Ooh,
that's
my
right.
stomach just turned
Let me tell
hard.
you
It did a
what.
flip flop.
Oh, you don't have a bottle of Tanqueray down there with the cookies? I don't know
Tanqueray. I was a
why I
big
was such
gin
a
drinker
gin
for a
guy.
minute. I was for a minute because I found out it's the least toxic, like it's the least detrimental to your system of
It's good for
alcohols.
you.
Yeah.
That's what I said. It's good for you.
It's good for you.
So I drank that and then drank a couple more of those of gin drinks in the stadium as well. And I don't remember going home.
Okay. Okay,
Yep.
well that's a sounds like a reason to not be drinking alcohol currently. Congrats to you on being sober.
Speaking of diet chasers and
No,
alcoholism,
I know. I'm anyone who goes sober that if you're an alcoholic, I applaud you because that's a, hard thing to do. And you're not, like I can just easily shrug off and go, oh yeah, I just quit drinking for my health.
yeah.
But like, plenty of people don't. Plenty of people wouldn't. They would get a kidney transplant and just continue to drink and fucking be idiots
A
or
lot of people
whatever.
do, and that's crazy. And it is crazy, but it's very cool how mindful you are and how health conscious you are, even still with your tendencies kind of straying the other way, at least with some of the nutrition, you know what I mean? The
I think
fact that
yeah,
you're able to like keep that like not just because so it keeps you alive. You spoke about ego a little bit earlier, like having like a smaller ego or whatever. I feel like I have the smallest amount of ego possible, and it's literally just my will to live. Like that's
I think
that's
I think you've reached nirvana. I don't know what that.
that's the amount of ego I have at this point. I hope to where I get to the point where I'm like, yeah, I don't think it should be treated like that, but like whatever. But like really, like if it comes down to it, like in jujitsu, I found out that that's really the only thing is like I think I should just so I don't really try to take care of myself. So I commend you for that. Like the fact that you were at least able to go like, well,
I'm gonna.
I shouldn't eat. The fact that you know how much sodium is in a pack of ramen though is telling. The
I
fact that
know
you're like,
too
I can have
many.
that in a whole day.
I know too many sodium things because of the how long I've had to have kidney diet. But no, you just said something there that made me think back to the beginning of the episode
About the ego
and
thing.
about the ego thing and the book, the Kundalini psychology book, and what I said at the beginning. And you said it, you have like zero ego, and
Mm-hmm.
that's almost the point where you're the type of person that then I think has reached that state where the individuation of each person is creating an ego. That's how this book goes into it. The individuation of you as an individual, you creating yourself is we all create an ego self as we're born babies with no consciousness, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you learn about people and humans and how we behave, and you become this. That's what this book is starting off on. How you become this individual. And if you have no ego, then you have no principle of that hate. That's when you reach the state of pure love, is when you have zero ego. So you're
Wow.
almost there. Maybe you're on your third. What did you say? Did you love or hate God? You don't have to tell me, but maybe you're on your last
I fear. I was
incarnation.
fear.
Fear. Oh, you're on your third. You might be on your third. I think this might be my left last life in this universe.
And is this would be my last one too? Then
I
right?
think you might be. I think you might
Yes.
be. Yeah. All right. I think we're gonna
Yes.
call.
No
I
more
think
life.
yes. Hell
Yay.
yeah. I like that note. We're gonna end there. I want you to tell the people where they can find you. If they made it to the end here, congratulations. You're with the weird.
Yeah, we appreciate you
Yeah.
sticking around.
Where can the people check you out?
Anywhere, basically anywhere you are, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, Pat_George, but everything else, Baby Mermaid Productions.
Baby Mermaid Productions.
Yeah.
All right. Pat George, the cat came to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Tell the cat, have the cat do its socials.
Yeah, Chloe, tell them where you can find them.
I mean, theoretically, that cat should be able to join the local school and go to school now. I think if there's
Yeah.
trans cat, maybe you should look into that
You know what? I'm going
uh,
to look at that and
right
enroll in
now.
her.
All right, take it easy, man.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
See ya.
Yeah.